Southwest is set to report results for its quarter Thursday. Given the operational meltdown estimated to cost the airline nearly $1 billion, what should investors be listening in for on the company's earnings call? For more on that, let's get to Melius Research's Director of Airlines and Travel Research, Conor Cunningham. Conor, how bad could it get?
It was pretty bad in the fourth quarter, so hopefully it doesn't get so bad from here. But I think we're about to go through a big apology tour from Southwest. They're going to apologize to the people they impacted, shareholders, their employees, and so on. So it should be a very interesting call. I think what people are looking for is just how does this deviate from their long-term plan? Do they adjust their 2023 outlook as a result of this? Our initial take is that they probably do not, and maybe they walk back some capacity growth in the first half of the year as they try to normalize the operation. We're still seeing operational struggles today. For example, they've canceled like 6% of their flights, likely due to weather. There's been just ongoing issues, and weather's been the starting point. It's just kind of been a rolling concern across the group in general. But the stocks have all performed decently well so far, so we got to live up to that. The stocks on average are up about 20%. Revenue has been incredibly strong, which has been driving margins up for the group in general. There are some cost headwinds that the industry does face from a labor standpoint, so we'll be listening for that as well. So should be an interesting day. A lot of headlines coming out tomorrow with 4 companies reporting.
Yeah, absolutely, Conor. I mean, when we think about weather, since you mentioned that's really just kind of a catalyst that cascades across the rest of the business as well, and it impacts where they haven't invested enough. Is it possible to even quantify the amount of spending that Southwest needs to implement towards some of that software, as they had highlighted and really led to the larger impact to $725 to $825 million for this quarter? Yeah,
for me, price shouldn't matter. So, we would like to avoid all the operational pitfalls. Like it's just been, and it's not just this year, it's been an ongoing thing for several years. And it's not just Southwest, it's all the airlines and in aviation infrastructure in general. There needs to be more invested just from the airlines themselves and the government. I mean, from what we've done for Southwest in our model, we assume that they're going to spend, $500 million incremental to upwards of $1 billion this year to try to adjust IT investment. It's hard. I don't know how much an off-the-shelf new system costs, but it's going to cost a lot. And honestly, the price shouldn't matter. Southwest has the cash on hand to do something like this, and this is the opportunity to kind of make right what you've done wrong. So we're hopeful that they see that and they adjust. And then from here going forward, that the operation remains the center of everything. Again, if you can't get to your destination, people aren't going to book you. So the concern is always going to be book away to another airline that's doing well. United, for example, highlighted a lot of this on their earnings call. They're saying basically their thought process is that the industry is going to grow or wants to grow domestic capacity on a year-over-year basis by 15%, and they're not going to be able to do it. Basically because of operational issues and other constraints just out there. So, it's all about running clean going forward, because that's leverage to the margin profile, not just on the revenue side, but on the cost side in general. So, for me, Southwest, the price should not matter to anyone. They just need to do it, and they need to aggressively do it and tackle the problem going forward.
And Conor, when you are on the call tomorrow, I mean, what do you want to hear from the company on the front in terms of not just that they're going to do it, but how they're going to reassure flyers that they're going to do it? I mean, how does reputational rebuilding work in this industry?
Yeah, well, Southwest does have prior to the meltdown, right. Southwest had a great reputation. This, unfortunately, people have short-term memories, and they generally book on lowest price or, where they're located and so on. So there will always be a Southwest loyalist. But our biggest concern for them is that one of the big bull points for their long-term strategy is that they were going to go after corporate travel. You can't sell a bad network or a bad operation to a corporate flyer who needs to make the meeting. And so that's a big concern for us. So it's about driving the confidence going forward, getting labor on board. So they have several pilot. I have several labor agreements that are open, and they need to get those settled. They need to get them settled super quick. They're already assuming a lot of that cost in their structure right now, but the overall unrest on the people side is pretty immense. So it's about aligning everyone on the same strategy. And so they got a new CEO. Bob has been there a very long time. He needs to get everyone on the right page and get them moving in the right direction. As soon as you get the culture fixed and everyone pointing in the right way, things should start to click. Is that going to be a tomorrow event? Probably not, but it could be something that happens over the next year. So it's about doing the stuff in the near term that you need to execute on from an operational standpoint, and have that momentum carry through into the years to come. So again, a lot of questions that they got to answer, but hopefully they have a strategy that's in place that will drive some confidence on the operational side.
So given the outsized reliance on a leisure type of traveler, or even a bleisure traveler, if you will, who's kind of mixing business and leisure, should investors be optimistic about bottom line growth for Southwest ahead of a recessionary cycle?
Yeah, so I heard your prior guest, and obviously talking a lot about recession is something that people talk about nonstop with the group. This is a highly cyclical industry. What I would just say is that in the first half of 2023, we are comping against incredibly easy comps. So think about what happened last year. We had Omicron and all sorts of other operational stuff, and just the environment really just wasn't open as it is now. So we're comping against very easy comps. So it's not that hard to get really constructive on the revenue side in the first half of 2023. Back half of 23, capacity starts to be added back in the system. That's typically bad for pricing. Revenues could slow as a result at that point, but that's still a ways away. And what does the recession actually look like? If we're just talking about potential tech job losses and so on, like that may not impact the person who wants to take their vacation that they're going to take that they haven't been able to take for 3 years. Again, like there's been a big shift in what people are buying. I say this a lot, but you can only buy so many sofas. And so, going forward, like what do you spend your money on? It's likely to be experiences. But again, it will depend on how deep the recession looks or how it all looks all together. And so, but right now we're relatively constructive on the revenue side. What we really want to see for margins to kind of take hold is some work on the cost stuff. We got to get labor done. The industry in general is just being handcuffed by lack of labor deals, and so it drives uneasiness on the investor side until those are done. And so those are done at Delta, Alaska. Those are United starting to include that in their forward guidance. Southwest is already accruing for it. So it's about getting them done now and starting to execute going forward. So we're constructive, but the stocks have moved a lot. Earnings they'll have to live up to the stock moves tomorrow. And I'm not expecting any boogeymen to kind of jump out of nowhere. This should be pretty easy going forward for them. It's just about, executing and messaging correctly going forward.
Yeah, the boogeyman already came for Southwest in December,
Yes.
I think, Conor. Thanks so much for the preview. Really helpful perspective. Melius Research Director, Conor Cunningham, thank you.